Good to see everyone here this evening. This is almost getting to be a routine. Brandon's out, and I'm ready for Brandon to be back. I don't mind teaching. I enjoy that. Working in a hospital and managing those things, and full-time job there, and then producing lessons and sermons and all that is a challenge. It brings back some old memories of when I was down at Boo Chapel. That was a challenge. I challenge anyone to do that. Good to see everyone here. I don't know if we have visitors. If you do, we're glad to have you. Of course, as I mentioned, Brandon is our regular Bible class teacher in here. Brandon mentioned, I think it was Sunday, he said that either Greg or Kelly was going to teach tonight. I said, come on, Greg, you're up. But Greg, I guess he can take a seat because he just got back into the country. We're glad you're back. I'm glad you're back because you're up next. Anyway, it's good to see you. Good to be here. Appreciate the songs and the prayers. I appreciate both of those that led in that. I appreciate Alvin. I get to work directly with Alvin at the hospital. For those of you that I'm sure that many of you already know that. And Tina, you make sure you keep raising grandbabies that he can never retire. Okay? I've got two that's going to retire in a few years, and I'm in trouble. And so we got to make sure that Alvin never retires until I retire. You got that? You got agreement there. All right. Let's see. I prepared a lesson, and then it was just a few hours ago that I said, I am not ready for this lesson. Okay? I'm not ready. What I've been preparing, it's going to take a little bit more work on my part, is a lesson. I want to maybe do a backwards approach to it, but I want to talk about how we got our English Bibles in a class. How did we get this Bible? And just a little side note, those of you may not realize some of these things. Jesus Christ did not use or quote the King James Version of the Bible. I mean, it's pretty close what he did, but anyway, it's not in there. But sometimes we need to think about, take a 1,000-foot view of how we got the Bibles today. And we need to be thankful. We need to be very, very thankful that we have the Bible in our own language. For many centuries, it was not so. And you can pick Bibles up anywhere. You can go to the dollar store. You can go to Walmart. You can pick these Bibles up anywhere. We have an abundance of Bible available to us. It's not always been that way for centuries. Okay? I had a couple of relics I was going to bring in. One is not really a relic, it's a copy of a relic, the original King James Version of 1611 that you could not read. Okay, well, you might read a little bit of it. And I have some German Bibles I want to show you. We got a German that works with us, and his family immigrated from Germany. His grandmother did, and I got some of Martin Luther's Bibles that I wanted to show you. I can't read German. We got anybody that can read German? Anyway, you do? All right, you're up. Okay. Anyway, well, what I want to do, so I've been working on that lesson and working on how I want to put that together, and it just didn't fall together as I would like. So what I want to do tonight is I want to do something that we did some time ago in a similar fashion. Okay? It's a little bit different type of study. And what it is, it's going to be allowing the scriptures to do the majority of the speaking to us. Okay? We're going to do what we call two-line sermons. Two-line sermons. Can any of you guess where I'm going? Two-line sermons. Where are they at? Two-line sermons. Just think, what book in the Bible has a bunch of two-line sermons in it? Think of it. Close, no cigar, real close. One more book. Psalms, Proverbs. Do you remember a year? I don't know how long ago it was. I did a lesson like this. We just went ahead. We just basically opened up. Just go ahead and go to the book of Proverbs. And I think what we did several years ago, some time ago. I don't remember when. Maybe you do remember. Maybe you don't remember. We just went through and did what we may consider a casual reading of some of the Proverbs. Okay? And typically, and I've done that before, we always start at the front. And then we only get so far in those studies. And if those studies don't repeat in a couple of weeks, then we just kind of get the first few chapters or whatever, and then it's over with. We don't get to really go. So what I want to do is something a little different. I want to throw it at you backwards. Okay? We're going to start toward the end, all the way not all the way back toward the end. We're going to go to the back of the book, okay, the latter end of the book, and we're going to work our way backwards through the text. Okay? The reason I'm doing a couple of reasons. Number one, I've covered some of the book before. It's hard to cover it all. And so I want to get some verses that I never get to. Okay? Never get to them because we get too much involved. Now, here's the key. In these 2-line verses, this type of study is something that you can benefit from. Okay? You know, you may say, well, I need to engage in a study of my own, and I don't really know what I need to study. I know we're studying, the book of Acts on Sunday, and I'm studying along there, and I'm studying the book of Colossians. We're studying there, but there's some other things. I've got some other time. What should I be studying? We might pick up who knows what. Go to the book of Proverbs, okay? And it doesn't take a lot of preparation on your part. Okay? The book of Proverbs it depends, or its value comes to you when you make association with those verses, when you make application of those verses. Okay? Now, when you go to them, a few little things. Number one, if you don't understand the proverb, move on to the next one. Okay? Does that help? Do you understand? Some of you may already know what I'm talking about. If you don't quite grasp it, don't get overwhelmed there. Okay? Now, I don't have my Bible. I mentioned earlier, I've got a copy of the same type of Bible I use, but I don't have my notes in it. And here's a thing, a danger. I've always written in my Bible and highlighted passages, underlined passages, and every time I open up that book to that passage, or in there, I go directly to that. You know what that does to those unmarked passages? It hides them. It hides them. Okay? So now we get to get just a brand new, brief, full look at every verse, hopefully. Okay? So let's just go there. Now, here's the question. Where shall we start? Where shall we start? Let's go to chapter 29. Chapter 29. Now, this is a classroom discussion. Okay? Not only are we going to go to that last chapter because 29, 30, you start getting into a little bit different type of proverb. So we're going to go from chapter 29, but we're going to start in verse 27. We're really working backwards. Okay? We're really going to work backwards. And we're going to do, this is going to be kind of like a rapid fire. If you're studying from the book, don't bog down in it. Read these passages and move on. Okay? But don't discount those passages. Because at a different time, at a latter time in your life or whatever, because you've got more wisdom and you've got more experience and you've got more applications, it will apply to you in another way, another form, or another fashion. Okay? Now, I'm going to need some help. Okay? Feel free, please, make comments. Okay? And if you would like to read one of the passages as we work our way backward, just raise your hand and let it be known. Okay? Will that work? I got an agreement? I got one with Tina already. What about the rest of it? All right, let's just read. A just man, this is verse 27 of chapter 29. A just man is an abomination to the, excuse me, I got it wrong already. The unjust man is an abomination to the just. He that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. That's kind of simple to understand, isn't it? It's going to take a lot of interpreting. The evil and the wicked don't like the good. That's all there is to it. That's everywhere. That's in the workplace. That's in society. That's in politics. It's everywhere. Next passage. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from the Lord. Okay? May not quite get it. We can make some applications to it. Anybody want to give it a shot? Come on, y'all. A little bit on the sleepy side. That is, we can kind of struggle with that one, but let's just move on. Let's do a rapid fire study of these verses. This is the way I hope maybe you can do it at home, and it brings you some some good use. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whosoever putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Here's one if you think about it. What is one thing that crooks utilize to get you, to steal from you, or to get gain from you? What is one thing they use? Or salesmen or whatever. And we may have some salesmen in here. We may have some type of salesman that might use what? Fear as a tactic to get you to buy their product. What would be an example of that? Anybody want to take a shot at that? Not defend their neighbor?
Life insurance.
Go ahead. Life insurance. Woo! I'm glad somebody said that. Fear. That's true. Oh, you're gonna. Well, I can give you a lot of opinion about life insurance. I want to today. Whoso is partner with a thief hateth his own soul. What? He heareth cursings and bewaileth it not. Not quite. That's a little bit of a challenge there. I think overall it's like, hey, don't hang around with these guys. They're going to trouble your soul. Okay? It gets better, folks. If you see any of these you want to read, we're kind of ahead of me, and we'll go right ahead and just go right ahead. A man's pride shall bring him low. What's another way we say it? Pride before the fall, Holy Spirit before the fall. But honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. It's a good thought there. And think about this idea. It uses the statements antithesis and antithesis. In other words, one says something one way, a thought is brought in one way, a positive way possibly, but it's also the same thought is brought in a negative way from the reverse. Okay? Let's look at another. An angry man stirreth up strife, and a furious man aboundeth in transgression. You got a double whammer there on negative, right? Negative. He that delicately bringeth up his servant from a child shall have him become his son at the length. What is that? What's that say? A little bit different proverb. It's not antithesis, antithesis. What's it saying there? He that delicately bringeth up his servant. Is that a child of his? What about employees? Can we make an application there? Or a friend? Or maybe someone in your, that you know or something like that, no blood kin. And you basically raise that person like it was your own, and you love them, and you give them help, and you help them through life. What have you gained? A son. You gained a son. Seest thou a man that is hasty in his words? There is more hope of a fool than of him. What's it saying there?
Think before you speak.
Huh?
Think before you speak.
Think before you put your mouth in here. Right?
Better be thought to be a fool.
Excuse me?
What's the other verse that goes along with that? I'm aware of it. Better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and
And everybody knows. We might get there. No, I think that's back a little bit. That's several chapters back. Anyway, it's the same thoughts, and you'll see some repetition in some of these. A servant will not be corrected by words, for though he understand, he will not answer or give heed. That's a little bit more challenging. These get a little bit better. We're just going to keep moving. Where there is no vision, we've heard this before, where there's no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Seems like different kinds of thoughts. I'm sure we could connect them. But we know where there is no vision, the people perish. And that was implied in other passages. I think it's in Amos, the book of Amos. And what it is, where there was no prophecies, the people perish. There was no preaching, the people perish. Okay? In a congregation where there's no vision by the elders, we're not talking about miraculous in any way. What happens? They stale the money, do they not? Right. Verse 17, correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. He shall give delight unto thy soul. What's that talking about? And what's the antithesis to that? The opposite. Correct thy son. Discipline thy son. Is it going to be good in the end? Wait, yes, it will be. He'll give delight to the soul. And what's the opposite of that? If we don't discipline our children, they're going to grow up and they are not going to be a blessing or delight to our soul. When the wicked are multiplied, verse 16, transgressions increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. It's good to know, is it not? Some of them are just comfort here. The rod and reproof give wisdom. The rod and the reproof give wisdom. But a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. What are talking about? Oh, are we going to bruise their psyche if we spank them? If we engage in corporal punishment?
Bring up a child the way he should go when he's old and not depart from it.
We're getting there. We're getting real close to that. Maybe another subject before that. But true. The rod and reproof give what? Wisdom. Wisdom. Spank their little hands. Make them go to Bible class. Okay. That gives wisdom. Get back there getting some wisdom, ain't you? See there? There's a fulfillment of that verse. If a ruler hearkeneth to lies, all his servants are wicked. From the top down, right? In a management situation, if the head CEO and all that are not heads, thieves, whatever, wicked, evil people, guess what? From there down, it's going to be that way. Any thoughts, questions? A fool uttereth all his mind. Here it is again. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it till afterwards. What's that talking about? Let's nail down right there a little bit. Let's make some application of that. Bring that one to life a little bit. Let me take a hold. A fool uttereth all his mind. What's it saying there? Somebody just runs their mouth, don't they, about certain things. And there might be an issue that's happening or taking place, and the foolish person just jumps in and just goes after it, right? And showing his expertise and his wisdom and his knowledge and how smart that he is and handling this. He's got the right answers to it all and all that. But the opposite to that is what? But a wise man keepeth it till afterwards, till he heard the whole matter, right? Listens to it all. Sometimes we can go off half caught when we hear half the story. That's not very wise, is it? Okay? Let's keep going, moving backward. The bloodthirsty hate the upright, but the just seek his soul.
Still try to win his soul, even though he's.
Excuse me?
Still try to win his soul, even though
right.
he's bloodthirsty.
Well, they just the upright look for the just man. We look for just people. We want just people in all places of life. Okay? If a wise man contendeth with a foolish man, whether he rage or laugh, there is no rest. Wasting your time, are you not? You can waste your time dealing with foolish people. There's no value in it. Scornful men bring a city into a snare, but wise men turn away wrath. If your leadership, if your rulers are lacking in character, that'll bring a city down, or an organization, or an institution. Okay? But wise men can keep that from happening. Okay? What kind of people do you work for? The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. The righteous. Who are the righteous? Those that follow good will. But if you just ignore it and don't care to know it about the poor, then you're considered in that class right there. In the transgression and evil man there is a snare, but the righteous does sing and rejoice. What about it? Any thoughts? We don't have much commentary coming from that direction. It'll get better. The man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. What does that mean? Old Franklin, man, I really like your place up there on the hill, man. Y'all, you really got it going on. Everything, I just thought, man, you have been working so hard all your life, and this and that, about everything about that, and going, and you're so, everything is really great. Okay? There's something fishy going on there, is it not? Might be wanting his property. Something like that. Spreadeth the net for his feet. Maybe causing him some kind of other difficulty. Alright? Questions, comments? Anybody jump forward just a little bit, jump through some of these. Let's go on to the next chapter. Y'all kind of look out ahead of me if y'all want to. If you see one that you really like, feel free to go to it. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. It kind of makes its own application. He that giveth unto the poor shall not lack, but he that hideth his eyes shall have many a curse. He that giveth to the poor shall not lack. What does that mean? If you're giving it away, you're giving it away, right? You don't have it anymore. So what is it talking about? It's not monetary income necessarily. If you are a giving spirit, that's the idea there. If you have an attitude or a mindset or a heart of giving, you're not going to lack. You're going to be happy. You're going to be content. Your heart is going to be rich. Bottom line there. But many curses to those that are just the opposite. He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool. There's your fool right there. But whosoever walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. I think I've told y'all a number of times. I was given a book to read, and I was asked to do a book club. I mentioned this to y'all before. I was asked to do a book club. Okay, so they gave me this book. Okay, so I read this book, and then I asked those that gave it to me. I said, "Now, can I handle this book club in a fashion that where I'm going to can speak toward it the way that I see fit, or do you want me to teach it the way you think it should be taught?" I said, but either way, I'm going to show the difference to it. I'm going to bring out the truth. This book was about self-improvement. Okay? It was about self-improvement. And what it was, the bottom line to it, is what's taught in one of the world religions, in Buddhism. It was a book that basically this businessman who was struggling in his life, had always been successful, but he had hit a brick wall in his business and life and everywhere, and he was struggling. He was struggling. So one of his handlers, his corporate folks, whoever it is, sent him to this, I guess you would say, guru or consultant, okay? A therapist. So once you read the story and all that, I understood very quickly that basically his boss had sent him to be under the tutorage of a Zen Buddhist teacher. Okay? And what they teach in that humanistic religion is that it's all right here. Okay? To find the answers, to make it happen, to make life right, you have the answers within inside you. Something wrong with that? Where be those answers? Where does it say here in this passage? But the what? But he that putteth his, no, that's the wrong one. But whoso walketh what? Wisely, that's a reference toward wisdom. From whence cometh wisdom? It comes from not from right here, from within. It comes from God, does it not? It comes from God. Anyway, yes, sir.
Going back to that verse about giving to the poor. We've all maybe had opportunities where I'll say me, where you, somebody, you know, when you're walking down the street in a different town or something, and they ask you for money. Want to, but you know, you don't do that to everybody you see. And good part of the payback is when you do good, you feel good about it. But when you, and it is like that, my first instinct is I feel bad, well, I should have done something.
Well, one thing that may help us in those scenarios is to plan our giving. If we plan our giving, we know where it's going to go. Okay?
I'm talking outside the church, though. I'm talking about out there in the,
Our personal giving, plan. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do. I get requests and all that, and there's some that I'll deny and say, no. I understand exactly what you're talking about. So we know what.
It's hard to know when not to, what Greg's talking about.
Right.
But you're always gonna feel bad when you don't do it.
Right.
You know,
What-
this week there's been a veteran sitting out over at the old Benton Lake parking lot, and every time I go by him, I feel bad, and I'll stop and give him something. Yet he's got a woman sitting there with him, and my thought is, well, you know, she was working, just sitting there with, you know, it's a hard thing.
I've encountered that. I can remember in Memphis and working on the job sites, and these guys would come up to us, and you know exactly how they're living. I mean, there's no doubt. If you they come up with a side story. I lost my train fare. I need to get back to Cincinnati. Can you loan me $1? You know what they're going to do with that? I know exactly what they're going to do with the dollar. No, I'm not going to contribute toward that. But if there's sometimes when you're just not sure, okay, one thing that can help is it's better to err on the side of mercy. We may want to err on the side of mercy at times.
there's a man stopped at the shop one time and said he needed to get the clue to see his mom. She's been operating on. He didn't have no gas. And I gave him $10. I knew he would. I had a $10 bill I gave him. He said, I'll pay you back. It was probably a year later, he said, when we're in town, somebody walked up to me, give me a 5, turned around and 10. He said, there's half. And I'll never forget that the day I die.
You just never know how to come back to us. It's a challenge at times. Plan your giving. Very quickly, whoso robbeth his father and his mother and says, it is no transgression, the same as a companion of the destroyer. What's that talking about? Whoso robbeth his father and mother. That's folks that's not taking care of their parents. Under the Mosaic law, they struggled with that at times. And they made a deal with the priest and how that they could keep all of their money and not take care of their parents financially. Okay? And basically they robbed the mother and the father of what they were due. They're considered a companion of a destroyer. Moving forward. He that rebuketh a man afterward shall find more favor than he that flattereth with his tongue. I've had some folks sometimes that tell me what I needed to hear. Now, I didn't like it. It was most grievous at the moment. But instead of telling me what I wanted to hear, they did what? They told me what I needed to hear. That's most important. That's even more so important. Let's not flatter each other. Let's tell it like it is. Sometimes we can just be too crude and true, abrasive. We don't have to be that way. All right, moving forward. He that hastens, verse 22, he that hastens to be rich hath an evil eye. Somebody wants to get rich, these get rich schemes. Look out. And considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. He's going to wind up investing all of his money in what? Go broke. Are there really any get rich quick schemes out there? Scripture teaches. I think in the discussion here is financial, but yes. All right, how y'all?
Something with the financial
Exactly. Exactly. Look in verse 1. The wicked flee when no man pursueth. What does that mean? But the righteous is bold as a lion. Someone that's life is full of sin and corruption and destruction and wickedness and bad deals, he's always doing what? Looking over his shoulder, wondering when it's going to be his just desert is coming toward him. And often there's nobody there. The wicked flee, but the righteous are bold. Bold in all aspects of life. Let's go back the other direction. Keep going down. For the transgressing land, many are the prince. Well, let's skip that one. Verse 3. A poor man that oppresseth the poor is like a sweeping wind that leaveth no food. Poor man that oppresseth the poor. Not a lot to say about it, but it's kind of self-explanatory. Verse 5. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. And here's one of them where I really like. Better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness. Better to be poor off, if you're a righteous person, than he that is perverse in his ways, though he is rich. Which is better? Rich with unrighteousness, or poor with righteousness? Good old common thoughts there. Verse 27, chapter 27, verse 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. You never know. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? You heard that passage before? Kind of rings very familiar from the book of James, does it not? Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger, and not thine own lips. Here's one right here I can apply to. I was taught this many, many years ago. And I was requested that I needed, in a certain, someone, well, I don't need to say this, but kind of cover, keep some things. I was told that I needed to broadcast my accomplishments in the place of business. I could not do that. I told that person that made those requests, I said, I am not going to toot my own horn. Okay? Your accomplishments will speak for themselves, will they not? There's plenty out there that toot their own horns, right? Get out there, do righteous, do just, do your job, work hard. It will be known. You don't have to tell them, look at me, look what I've done. We don't have to toot our own horn. Any thoughts? Any question? Let's do one more. A stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than them both. Any questions? Any comments? All right, well, we're just going to let it go from there. Appreciate your kind attention.